But it looks like Man United are with the bookmakers the favourites now. Spurs haven't made an official offer to Christian Eriksen. There are some reports suggesting that he's agreed some of his terms with Man United, basically the salary. And when Alaisdair Gold put out this afternoon that staying in London is no longer, and it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but staying in London is no longer the preference or a deal breaker for Christian Eriksen. Do you think that is almost a polite way of a Spurs journalist saying he's picked Manchester United?
Yeah, it's so funny because before they were like, oh, he wants Champions League football and he wants to stay in London, so it's out of Brentford and Tottenham. So obviously Brentford can't offer Champions League football. So people putting 2 and 2 together, like he's definitely coming back to Spurs and all of this and that. And then now it's like, oh, Spurs have distanced themselves. And even though we spoke to him, we didn't put an offer in. So it's looking like he's going the other way. It's a weird one because part of me feels a bit upset that he's not coming back. But then the other side of me is like, I don't really care. Do you know what I mean? Without being too brutal, the guy down tools for the last 6 months when he was here. He was quite toxic. He was in and out of the team. He wasn't performing, throwing his toys out the pram. Things didn't go that well under him and Jose at the end. You saw on All or Nothing, he's coming speaking to Daniel Levy, and Daniel Levy was like, we'll let you go if we get the right bid. We ain't getting the right money. It was a lot of ups and downs, and I know obviously he's gone through a lot. A lot of people want him back. I'm a bit indifferent. I'm kind of like, I don't care either way, if I'm being honest. He's a great player, and I definitely want him back for what he can bring, especially when we're playing against low blocks, teams that sit back. He's perfect for that. But also at the same time, I'm not that bothered if he doesn't come back. I'd rather he doesn't go into the Premier League. I don't really want to see him at United, but then also the game is the game, innit? If we're not going to put offer in, then fair enough. So, yeah, it looks like he might be going United, man, which is quite interesting. But the guy's such a good player, man. He's quality. Everyone knows what he can do. Look what he did for Brentford. Look what he does when he plays for Denmark. Obviously, his career at Spurs. Yeah, he's a fantastic player. So it will be a bit upsetting because we do need a creative cam. We need a 8/10 that can get on the ball, spray passes, unpick a stubborn defense when they sit back, and obviously don't let us roam and pass the ball around. So if you get him, Terry, he's brilliant, man.
I reckon it'll be really interesting to see how United's midfield works. If you're going to get Frankie de Jong, it's heavily rumoured, then you get Eriksen in, and then you're looking at Lissandro who can play DM. I'll be really interested to see how that midfield works, because I can already tell some of the stuff that we said by pundits early on. Where's the legs in that midfield? Where's the passion and desire from that midfield? All that stuff, but that's such a technically sound midfield.
Yeah, you need options though, Tom. You don't need a chopper and an enforcer in every game. Do you know what I mean? So the fact you got Eriksen, he might not start every game, and even if he was playing at Tottenham, I don't think he would have started every game, but he's so good, you would need him in certain situations, or just gives you that quality when you would take, because we've got so many games. I think this year we've got basically there's a game every 3 days now because of this World Cup middle bit, so you're going to need a squad full of quality.
Yeah, I
think if we keep it 100, I think Eriksen's rejected Spurs. Conte wanted him. Paratici wanted to sign him when he was at Juve. Obviously, Conte signed him when he was at Inter. But I think, and I say rejected, not because Spurs small club, nothing to do with that. I think he wants to play football, and he doesn't walk into the Spurs side. Mainly because of the way that Harry Kane plays. They don't play with a 10 and the way that Conte plays. So you don't play with a 10 behind a number 9 kind of box striker. Kane drops into that position. So his game time is going to be extremely limited because you're not going to play him in the 2 in the midfield or wherever formation in the place. So I think he has to consider that. And when you consider that, it's easier for him to get into the Man United side based on the way that we play. And I think it is to get into the Spurs side. Where does he fit into the Spurs side? And at 30 years old, you want to play football, I think. So for me, he has probably turned down Spurs on that basis, not for anything else.
Question, Patrick, just on your DMs, like who are your midfielders?
For me, I feel, well, the midfielders we had that played in DM, you had Højbjerg, then you had Skip, and then you had Bentancur that would play either side of them. So now for me, it will definitely be Basuma +1. So either be Basuma and Højbjerg, Basuma and Bentancur, or Basuma and Skip. Probably Basuma and Bentancur. So you get obviously that bit of steel and grit, and then Bentancur that can cycle the ball and keep things moving. So I'd say that would be the set 2. And then just like as we keep saying about options, rotation, blah, blah, blah. But I think because Neeks, you're saying he doesn't start every game. I think he would start in a lot of games as well, because like I keep saying about rotation, so many games coming up: Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup. There's a lot of football to be played.
Where does he fit into a Conte like starting formation?
I have an idea, but for you, where do you think he'll fit in? Just so I can understand.
I would say he would fit, like, say if you're playing like I don't know, like a Brentford, for example, or you're playing, I don't know, it's Southampton, and you need it depends really, because sometimes what you're seeing is that teams did pack out the midfield, so he wouldn't start in a game like that. But if we're going to have a lot of the ball, then you would need Eriksen on the pitch to pick a pass and to create and move the ball, because we do lack a creative midfielder. We do lack that silk and that quality. Do you know what I mean? So it depends on the person. It depends on the team we're playing, to be honest. But there's no definitive answer.
I feel like that it could work. It could work with him playing behind Son and Kane. Like that could work easily. And there's also one thing that's really good about Antonio Conte, which goes really under noticed, is that he can maximize a player in any kind of position. So I think about what he did with Cesc Fabregas, making Cesc Fabregas play a little bit deeper alongside N'Golo Kante or Nemanja Matic, right? Nemanja Matic and N'Golo Kante were usually just holding down the fort, basically running riot across the midfield. And you had Fabregas there who was the helping hand, but he would also be the person picking in them passes from deep, you know? And Christian Eriksen is more than capable of doing that. So there are different ways Christian Eriksen can be played.
I think with Spurs, I get the whole point of maybe United have turned his head, i.e. the pool that Neeks was talking about earlier. And it's a thing a club will always do is, well, we won't make the official offer because that way we can say we weren't rejected and walk away. We know clubs do that. But equally, Spurs are toying with Lautaro Martinez, that they're still looking at maybe putting an offer in. There is still the talks of Gabriel Jesus as another example. And maybe the thought is, well, if we sign a number 9 or someone that can play that role, it's Harry Kane that's going to drop that little bit deeper and be that creative spark, because he did it brilliantly this year. And I still think there's an element of that kind of going on.